Maybe one of you guys can find out. I'm not really looking to find. I'm not really looking forward to find that out. Hello everyone, Alex here. Today I want to talk about video stores in Toronto and in the GTA in general. I'm going to be going through the stores that I visit the most and kind of talk about them. I'm going to try to be as objective as possible, but I might slip some personal opinions here and there. So yeah, let's just get started. I'm going to go in alphabetical order. So the first one would be Bay Street Video. Bay Street Video is probably the oldest operating video store in the city, and I believe it's also the one with the largest collection from my understanding. I like Bay Street Video because I believe it's the only store that still does rentals as far as I know. So that's a great opportunity to do a few things. You can save money, you can still enjoy the movie, and you can support local stores, which is very important. They have a great selection from mainstream titles to something more, boutique label. I'm pretty positive they bring all the boutique labels that you can think of, and the other thing is they also distribute some like smaller movies, mostly movies made in the city, which is great. I really appreciate that. The other positive when it comes to the store is they have a royalty program. So if you go and buy them, you can collect points, and then you can get either a free rental or a little discount on your next purchase, which is pretty awesome in my opinion. They also have a website. The website is a little bit old school looking, but it functioned pretty well. It's got a database that you can query, and you can search for all the titles that they have available, and it will tell you if it's available just for purchase, for rental, and the format, and so on and so forth. So that's pretty good. I also believe they have an online store. I haven't used the online store yet, but that's there, and that's also pretty handy. And the other thing to mention that I think is very important is that they also do custom orders. So if they don't have it in stock, they might be able to put an order for you, which is pretty awesome. The next store in the list, I think you won't see it coming, and that is Giant Tiger. So Giant Tiger, for the people that don't live in Toronto or in Canada, it's like a small Walmart. It's our version of Walmart. So it's a department store that carries a little bit of everything. And in the few locations that I visited, they have a little section with some movies. It's mostly mainstream titles, but that's okay because the prices are actually pretty good, and it's probably some of the lowest prices you'll find in a physical store these days. So if you're looking for something that is like like a blockbuster or something like that, it might be worth to check it out if they have it or not. I don't think they carry the newest movies, but if you're looking for a movie that is like, a couple of years old, just give it a shot. You might be able to get your hands on it for like less than $10, which is pretty good. The other store in the list is Eyesore Cinema. So Eyesore Cinema, I've only been there once, and it's quite the experience. I really like in there, and I'm planning on going again in October. But it's a store that mainly focuses on horror titles. So if you're in the horror genre, you'll find everything, basically everything. The owner is great and very friendly and knowledgeable. I'm pretty sure he also puts custom orders for his clients, but I'm not entirely sure. Like I'm more than positive, but not like 100%. And it's also great because they have some used titles, so you can buy used DVDs, lots of VHS tapes, and LaserDisc. And you can find, from the most common titles to, I believe, something a little bit more rare. But yeah, so that's it when it comes to iSource Cinema. Make sure to follow them on Facebook and Instagram. I'll put the link down below because they'll always keep you in the loop. And same thing with Bay Street Video. Make sure to also follow them. I'll make sure that all the links are down below because even with Bay Street Video, they're great on uploading every week, the new titles that they get in and also the new titles that go on rental. So that's great. And I think they also have a Letterboxd. I don't use their Letterboxd, but apparently like all the lists are there in their Letterboxd. So something to check out, I guess. The other store in the list is Salvation Army. I don't really have much to say about Salvation Army. It's just basically like, just your everyday thrift shop with some sections where they sell used media. The only thing that I will say about Salvation Army and literally any kind of like thrift shop is to make sure before you buy, because anything can happen. You might buy a DVD and the disc is missing, the disc is scratched, or somebody swapped the disc, who knows. So just be careful to make sure that, you're getting what you want and then, just get what you want, I guess. Personally speaking, Salvation Army is not the best thrift shop around my area. Like, we don't get a lot of good stuff in there. But I understand that it changes from area to area. So, maybe in your area it might be better. Who knows? There's only one way to find out, and that's for you to go out and check it out, find out. Other than that, the next entry, I don't think you will also expect it, and that is Shoppers Drug Mart. So Shoppers Drug Mart is it's our pharmacy here in Canada, and they also have a little section in the middle of the store and like in the corner where nobody goes with some DVDs and Blu-rays. It's very similar to Giant Tiger. You don't really go to those stores to buy movies, but sometimes they're there. And yeah, it's very similar to Giant Tiger, like I said. Like, you can get something for like $5-10 and you can call it a win. Yeah, I don't have much to say about that. The other entry would be Sunrise Records. So Sunrise Records in Canada is a little bit interesting in the sense that it operates under different names. So you'll see some stores that are labeled Sunrise Records, and you'll see some stores called FYE, which I think it's more popular in the US. But honestly, once you go inside, it's basically the same store. Just the sign outside is different. What can I say about Sunrise Records? I've always had good experiences going in. The workers, they seem to be pretty helpful in finding stuff and checking their stock in different locations and that kind of stuff. There's been some instances where I've had to return some stuff, and the return has been pretty good, pretty straightforward. So yeah, no complaints when it comes to that. And I really like their 3 for 15% off promotion, which I try to get advantage of it as much as I can. Yeah, so the other thing that I need to mention before moving on is that the owner of Sunrise Records and FYE, he also owns Toys R Us here in Canada. So I don't know if you've noticed, but I've noticed that in a few locations, they're starting to sell physical media inside of Toys R Us. So you'll be able to find, lots and lots of DVDs and Blu-rays and even 4Ks. And the prices are actually pretty good. I've noticed some prices are even cheaper than going to the regular Sunrise Records / FYE. So it might be worth checking out. I don't know how it works with the return policy. I do know that, if you buy a Sunrise Records, you can return to FYE and vice versa. But I have no idea how it works when you put Toys R Us in the middle, in the mix. Maybe one of you guys can find out. I'm not really looking forward to find that out. The other entry would be Value Village. Same thing as Salvation Army. I don't have much to say. It's pretty much the same thing. In my area, though, it seems like Value Village is a little bit better. Like they get better stuff in stock. And I actually bought my VCR from them many years ago. And, knocking on wood so far, I haven't had any issues. So if you're looking to buy something that is like cheap and used, I would say a thrift shop would be the way to start. Like I said earlier, just make sure that you're getting what you want and you're not getting anything that is like scratched or it's missing or it's mislabeled and that kind of stuff, because you don't want to deal with a headache. I think they don't do returns. I never had to do a return, but I can't think it would be. I don't think it would be pleasant, to be honest. That's just me. Now let's go back to more local stores. The next store is Vinegar Syndrome, which you probably saw that coming from my previous video. I like going there quite a bit for many reasons. I'll tell you why. I really like their selection for used stuff. They have many shelves filled with used VHS tapes, DVDs, Blu-rays, and even LaserDisc. So I tend to buy quite a bit of my stuff from them, full disclosure. Even their used Blu-rays are great because they sometimes you can find in stock labels like Arrow Video, Kino Lorber, Criterion, the more expensive stuff. But since it's used, it's a little bit on the cheaper side. And then, great selection, and I have to say, great staff. They're very warming when you go inside. They're very helpful, and so far, every movie that they recommended to me, I really enjoyed them. So, really no complaints there, and they really listen to the customers. For example, like a few months ago, maybe weeks ago, they posted on their Instagram page that they were stocking VHS cleaners. So that's great because, community feedback, I think it's very important. And I appreciate that. I honestly appreciate that a lot. And the extra bonus and the extra benefit of visiting Vinegar Syndrome is that right across the street there is the oldest movie theater in Toronto, which is the Revue Cinema. So, you go there out once and you might be able to do two things in one day. Little side note, I really like going to the Revue because it's one of the few remaining cinemas in the city that does showings in 35mm and in 16mm. And they also have a lot of special events almost monthly. Actually, I think monthly, where, they'll get directors, they get cast members, they get producers, and those people stick around during the movie, and then they'll do like a little Q&A after the movie. It's a fun experience. You'll have to experience it yourself. I don't think me talking about it will do it justice. Anyways, let's move on. The other store in the entry in the list is Walmart. Walmart, I really like going to Walmart for a bunch of reasons, but I'm not gonna lie. The last few months have been pretty rough since they got rid of the $5 and $8 bins. So I feel like when you go now on a weekly basis, it's a little bit too much. It's too excessive because it gets too repetitive. They don't change the titles often enough. But if you go once a month or maybe every couple of weeks, it's worth doing the trip because it's one of the stores where you can find physical media for cheap, and their titles are mostly up to date with whatever comes out on 4K and Blu-ray and that kind of stuff. And it's good because you get a decent mix of new titles and older titles. And I think they usually carry, the titles that a little bit everyone can appreciate. So that's good. But there's some caveats to that too. Depending on the Walmart that you go to, they don't really do a great job with spiderweb, so they might ruin the slipcover. So I'm not a huge fan of slip covers. So if there is like a little bit of damage, I'll let it slide. Like I don't care that much, but I can understand why for some people it might be a deal breaker. And also their aisles are very messy. I don't think they get reorganized very often, so it could be a mess going through their titles. But it's still worth it. Still worth it. And I was on Facebook a few days ago, and they were saying how some of their stores they're bringing back the bins. I don't know if that's true, and I don't even know if that's in Canada or if it's in the US. But guys, if you guys know, just let me know in the comments because I would be very curious about it. Because I really miss those bins, to be honest. It was fun going there for a few minutes and shuffling through those. So I hope they bring it back to some extent. I don't think it'll ever be the way that it used to be, but I think it would be fun. I think it would be fun. The next one is I keep forgetting this one. Wildlife thrift shops or thrift store. Yes, Wildlife thrift store. It's probably one of the more bougie thrift stores in the city, and it's hard to miss. It's right beside Union Station, maybe like a 2 minute walk. So if you're visiting the city, it's hard to pass on it. Now, for us physical media collectors, personally, like it's fine, it's whatever. It's just any kind of thrift shop where you pay a little bit of a premium, but the little selection that they have seems like it's in better shape than most other thrift shops. But I don't think I think the titles that you see in that thrift shop you can find pretty much anywhere. I think it's fun to visit a thrift shop, honestly, for other stuff other than movies. I think this is just a little nice add-on kind of thing. And that's it. That's it. We finished when we went through the entire list. I want to do two honorable mentions. Those are two stores that I haven't visited yet, but I'm planning on doing it, hopefully by the end of the year. The first one is Deja Vu Discs, and I think they have a bunch of locations spread across the GTA, and they also have a pretty good website where, it seems like they have a pretty solid selection. And I think it's mostly used stuff. So it might be worth to check out. I haven't been, there hasn't been a chance, but I have a good feeling that if I go in, I'll probably end up liking it quite a bit. And then the other honorable mention is a store in Vaughan called Retro Boys Collectible. Is it? Yes, it is. So this one, from my understanding, they specialize in retro games and video games, but they also have a little section with old VHS tapes. But I've never been inside, so I don't know what to expect. But I just thought that since I know about them, might as well be worth mentioning them. So guys, I think this is the end of the video. Let me know if I missed any stores or what's your favorite store in the city. And also let me know what stores you guys have in your own city, because I don't travel a lot, but when I do, I like to visit some of these stores. So who knows, I might be in your city next and I might be willing to try out a new video store. So yeah, leave a comment down below with your favorite video store and why. And who knows, maybe more people will end up visiting it, which I think is great. Anyways, thank you for sticking with me until the end. Like the button, share and comment, and see you next time. Bye bye guys.